Today I'm here with my new friend. Her name is Scoliosis Barbie. I got this Barbie just the other day. I believe she was only released recently, and I legitimately love her. I think she's part of the collection called Chelsea, which is supposed to represent like Barbie's younger sister or something, because she's a little bit smaller than most Barbies, and I believe while Barbie is kind of an adult who can like get married to Ken and have every career in the entire world, I think Chelsea is supposed to be more of like a teenage character, someone who's a little bit younger than Barbie. And that is why Chelsea, in going through her puberty and going through her adolescent years, is wearing this brace on her back. Because her back is twisted, she has some curves in her spine. That's a disease we call scoliosis. This is a disease that I myself was diagnosed with back in 2004, which, get ready for it guys, ready for the existential crisis? That was 19 years ago. We're going on 2 decades now of Savvy knowing that she has scoliosis. This doll actually makes me quite happy because I enjoy how cute she is. I like the way that this brace is like, has the little buckles that adjust across it like this. It's very similar to the brace that I had back when I was 11 years old. And it's been really great actually lately to see companies like Mattel, Barbie type companies, introducing more Barbies and toys with disabilities in general. On this channel, I haven't been like super open about my history with disability, but I have dealt with various disabilities throughout the majority of my life. A lot of it having to do with the fact that I have scoliosis, and because I have actually 2 curves in my spine, one bigger at the bottom and then a smaller one at the top, but they go in opposite directions. So because they kind of balance each other a little bit, I've thankfully never had to get spinal surgery. I've gotten by with physical therapy, weightlifting and training and things like that, as well as having a brace back when I was in middle school. But even before I had gotten that diagnosis, throughout most of my childhood, I struggled with walking. I wasn't able to walk without devices for the majority of my childhood. I missed out on a lot of things like playing sports as a kid, playing outside all the time as a kid, just because I wasn't able to fully walk on my own and I had to spend a lot of my childhood in the hospital. When you're a kid and you're going through that, it can feel kind of isolating, and it can also make your childhood not as fun to look back on, because when everyone talks about the carefree days of just climbing trees and running around the fields and playing outside or whatever, you remember that you didn't get to experience that, and it can make you feel a little bit othered, which is one reason that I'm so happy to see Mattel releasing toys that have various different types of abilities and disabilities along with them. Recently, they also released a collection of Barbies that use wheelchairs, and most recently, which is going to be the main topic of today's video, they released a new Barbie who has Down syndrome. I think that this is kind of cool. I think it's great that they're showing a wider variety of toys and making a wider variety of toys available, but as is usual, this is the internet where we can never have nice things, which is why today we're going to look at what right-wing commentators have to say about the Barbie with Down syndrome. Why do they have anything to say about it? I'm not really sure. But you know that meme that's like heartbreaking, worst person you know just made a great point? That's not what we're doing today. This is the opposite of that. This is the other meme based on that one that says heartwarming, all the worst people you know are fighting. The 2 people we're going to focus on who are fighting today are going to be our old friends Matt Walsh and Steven Crowder, one of whom thinks that Barbie with Down syndrome is too woke and is the leftist agenda, and the other one who thinks that Barbie with Down syndrome is a hero for the conservative side because she is a symbol of the pro-life movement. Neither of these things are true, so join me and Scoliosis Barbie today as we go through some of the weirdest reactions to our newest friend in the Barbie family. Let's go.
Get you some nuts.
Yeah, you effing.
Up yours, woke moralist. We'll see who cancels who.
What's up, my fellow small business supporters? I'm Savvy, and welcome back to Savvy Writes Books, the channel where we talk about books and business, where today we are going to be focusing more on the business side of things. The business we are going to be talking about today is Mattel, the company famous for producing Barbie, probably its biggest brand, in addition to being the parent company of American Girl, which used to be Pleasant Company back in the 1980s and 90s. You guys know about my love for toys. I mean, I'm sure if you don't, you can kind of see it behind you. I have a book coming out in July called Conversations with My Puppet, A Professional's Guide to Playful Creativity, which is going to be all about the ways that continuing to play with toys as an adult has been a fantastic business asset for me and has helped me grow my own business, Forever Home Friends, which is a company I started in 2017 that produces picture books and plushies based on real rescue dogs and cats and their journeys to adoption. That is linked in the description below. If you want to get updates on things like when my new book Conversations with My Puppet's going to be coming out, you can join my email list, which is also linked in my description below. And Quick side note, today's video is brought to you by my Patreon supporters. Thank you so much to everyone on my Patreon for continuing to support this channel and for making it so that I am able to put out as many videos as I can, because it's not easy. A nice little segue regarding the Patreon is that if you join my Patreon, you will get to see sneak peeks and previews of some of my books, including a book like Conversations with My Puppet. Just recently I posted a sneak peek of the introduction to that book over there, so if you want to get to read some pieces of my book for free before they come out, I guess it's not really for free because it's paid to be on my Patreon, but you know what I'm saying, right? Anyway, my current goal right now is to get my Patreon up to $1,000 a month because I have hired an editor for this channel, and that'll make it so that I can guarantee 3 videos a week for you guys with an editor helping me work on those. Let's get into today's topic about the new Barbie who has Down syndrome and the strange things that some people have to say about her. So first, let's just take a look at this new Barbie, who she is, what she represents, all of that. So this is what she looks like. She is part of the Barbie Fashionistas doll line, which I believe is a line of Barbies that is trying more diverse shapes in the bodies and things like that. So for example, you know how there's the traditional Barbies that have always kind of had the exact same body proportions, same height, same, you know, chest to waist ratio, things like that. They all kind of had the same mold to them. They started this Fashionistas line a few years ago to be more experimental and try different types of Barbies, making some of them shorter, making some of them thicker, things like that. I think it's very cool what they did with her, especially this necklace, which we'll talk about in just a second. All right, let's look at the details. Barbie Fashionistas celebrate diversity and other endless possibilities for storytelling and fashion exploration. With this inclusive range of dolls, kids can see how fun it is to express personality through style. They're an ideal gift for fashion-loving kids everywhere. Meet the first Barbie doll with Down syndrome. Barbie partnered with the National Down Syndrome Society to design a doll that celebrates this community. Meaningful symbols are incorporated throughout her outfit, like butterflies, which are a symbol of Down syndrome, and the blue and yellow color palette, which represents Down syndrome awareness. Her pink pendant necklace has 3 arrows to represent the third 21st chromosome that individuals with Down syndrome have, and they point outwards to represent rising up and moving forward. Isn't that cute? I really like that. So they gave her this necklace that goes with it, and that's supposed to be symbolic of having Down syndrome and what that means for her in her life and things like that. I love when toy creators pay attention to the details like that. I think that that's really awesome that they're weaving those symbols so organically into this doll's outfit, into this doll's style. You guys know about my love for American Girl dolls and how much I talk about American Girl dolls on this channel and things like that. I always get so excited when I see certain little details incorporated from a certain historical period or something that's symbolic of something in that doll's story or something like that. I think that's so cool from like a toy creator perspective myself. I wonder what the lightning bolts on Scoliosis Barbie are supposed to represent. I do have a full back scoliosis tattoo. It's pretty fun. It took like 5.5 hours to do. I guess because I'm used to back pain throughout my whole life, I have a high pain tolerance, so I can do tattoos. I've never taken more than 1 session for a tattoo. Fun fact about me and how badass I am. All right, let's continue. Barbie's pink ankle foot orthoses, AFOs, match her outfit perfectly and support her as she walks, while her white sneakers have zipper details so kids can easily slip them on and off. Okay, I love this too. I love that she has leg braces because like I told you guys, I had leg braces as a kid. I wasn't able to walk without devices for a long time. I think it's cool that there are dolls that represent these things now. I might have to get this Barbie at some point. I think she's really awesome. But of course, while I think that this doll is super awesome and I think that she's nothing more than a representation of diversifying toys more and having more options among toys for people to choose what to play with and to see themselves reflected in toys, which is a good thing, a lot of right-wing commentators on the internet are trying to make this into something else, trying to make it into something that either goes against their agenda or is in favor of it. I don't know how to tell you guys this, but Down syndrome Barbie is not political. She is a toy that represents a community of people that exists. Nothing to do with you, Matt Walsh and Steven Crowder, but let's take a look. All right, this is a tweet from Ron Filipkowski, who says, right-wingers still trying to figure out if Barbie with Down syndrome is woke so they should ridicule it or pro-life so they should be for it. Must it be exhausting to go through this process for every new product or ad? Yes. So we'll take a look at Steven Crowder's video in a second. Steven Crowder made a video about this, which is not very nice, to say the least. And then Matt Walsh replied by saying the following. I know some conservatives are calling this woke, but I don't see it that way. It's pro-life. The left is exterminating Down syndrome children. They are the victims of an actual eugenics campaign. This is one case where inclusion and representation actually is important. So, Matt Walsh, I don't know how to tell you this. Actually, I do know how to tell you this. The pro-choice movement and the desire for right to have safe and legal abortions is not about eugenics. It is not about trying to exterminate a group of people. The whole point behind the pro-choice movement is bodily autonomy for each individual. So I, as a woman, if I am to get pregnant by accident and I have no desire to let another human being live inside of me, or to give birth, or to make my body go through the hell that entails, I should not be required to, because this is my own body and I should be allowed to decide if anyone else is even allowed to live inside of it in the first place, and what I personally can do with my own body, right? That's what I get to decide as an individual human being. That is what the pro-choice movement is about. I will say, I agree that people discriminating against disabled people is a huge problem. For example, I at one point decided I wanted to try to sell my eggs, right? Because I don't have any desire to ever give birth to anyone, and I have fertile eggs as far as I know, so I was like, you know, I have some friends that have sold their eggs before for people who are dealing with infertility. So I was interested in maybe selling my eggs for couples that are going through infertility, or couples that are the same gender and not capable of, you know, having children the way that they're usually conceived, or things like that. I have a few friends that have sold their eggs, so I was like, I'm gonna give that a try. I went to sign up on some websites for this, and it asks you about your health history. I said, you know, I have scoliosis. I mentioned that I don't know my biological father, so I have no way of telling you that side of the family's history, and they were like, we don't want your eggs. We don't want your eggs. We do not want them. And I will say, I think that that is kind of ableist, right? The fact that if you are going to have a child through means other than the type of conception where it's like sex pounding, if you're gonna have a child through means other than that a lot of people will say, you know, well, I want to make sure that my child has the combination of genes that I personally want. I can see where that definitely has some eugenics vibes to it, and I'm not really a fan of that. I wish I were allowed to sell my eggs and that someone would want to buy them from me, but unfortunately I am too disabled for that, and that makes me very sad. On the surface of, like, yes, it is wrong to want to get rid of any group of people. That is eugenics. That is genocide by definition. I completely agree. At the same time, to say that that is what the pro-choice movement is about, or the desire for safe and legal abortions about, is just so wrong. It's a complete straw man of what people who are pro-choice actually want, which is, in my case and many others, bodily autonomy, the ability to say, I don't actually want to let another human grow inside of me. I don't want to have to carry this child to term, regardless of whether they have any certain disability or whether they have any pre-existing condition. Regardless of that, I just don't want to. It's my body and I don't have to do that. So I think it's a little weird that he's trying to say, well, this Barbie's clearly pro-life because why? People with Down syndrome existing are not a political tool for the pro-life movement. People with Down syndrome existing are they're just people. They're human beings who have their own lives and their own interests, and the same as you, Matt, or me, or anyone. It's so weird to see him, in a way, kind of objectifying people who have Down syndrome by taking people who are just a demographic of people and trying to turn them into a tool for his agenda. I find that extremely ableist in its own way. But speaking of ableism, let's see what Steven Crowder had to say. By the way, right as I was about to film this video, all the stuff about Steven Crowder and his divorce and the way he treated his wife and all that came to light, so don't worry, we're gonna do a big deep dive on Steven Crowder for next week. Let's see what Steven Crowder had to say. Just a quick little warning, I did watch this video ahead of time, and it has some extremely ableist language. So if that's something you don't want to hear, then you may want to skip ahead to the timestamp on screen. Alright, so Steven tweets, Mattel launches Down syndrome Barbie. What's your video say about it, Steven? Tell us.
The world's first Barbie with Down syndrome will give children the opportunity to play.
So right now he's just laughing in the background. Nothing really funny has happened. It's just that the news is saying, hey, this Barbie has Down syndrome canonically. And Steven's like, that's funny. Why?
Play with more inclusive dolls.
This doll is breaking barriers.
Again, what's he laughing at? See, this is the thing. Steven Crowder likes to say that he's funny. He likes to consider himself a comedian. And that's the part that I don't get. because I don't understand where his sense of humor comes from. The jokes he makes are not funny, and the things he laughs at are not funny. Like, he's laughing at nothing right here. This is just someone saying, hey, we've got this new doll, here's what the doll is, and he's laughing. Like, I don't get, where's the setup and the punchline? Where's the humor? I don't get it, Steven.
Getting the first fashion doll
with
Down
retard
syndrome.
strength.
Okay. What?
Is this real?
Allowing more children to
This is
project
real.
their future through fashion doll play and imagine what is possible.
Mattel Barbie's
This is also just lazy content on Steven's part. He's just, like, you know when people make reaction videos, it's always good to regularly insert your own commentary? Steven has just laughed and then said something very ableist and then continued to laugh when there was just nothing happening. I'm very confused.
parent company announced the
Oh,
new
no.
figures will soon be
Why? Oh no, what's wrong with this?
hitting store
Oh,
shelves.
no.
Well, here's the thing. They really have been going full bore, and Mattel actually announced plans to expand this in the name of diversity before the end of the year with sickle cell Barbie.
Oh, for the
So
love
that's
of God.
something they also, look, everyone's...
I don't get the joke. What? Is the sickle cell Barbie thing real or not? Like, it looked, because the Planned Parenthood thing in the background made me think that maybe Steven was making a joke, but then again, a Barbie with sickle cell anemia is not a terrible idea, as it's an autoimmune disorder that many people have. I'm very confused! What is the point here? Let's look at the comments. This person's like, the butthurt in the replies, it's a joke! Comedy is supposed to be taboo! I don't think they wrote a good comedy, but it's a joke nonetheless. Since all of these people are asking us what is a woman, I want to ask them what is a joke. How do we know when something's a joke? Because my opinion of a joke was always something that, like, had some type of setup and payoff. Either there's some kind of pun, there's some kind of play on words, there's something that people go, oh, I see what you did there, or something like that. There's usually some type of payoff. And that's not to say that there is a definitive line of what is a joke and what isn't, but this like, when I say it doesn't look like a joke, that's not me being like, I'm the humor police and I find this too offensive to be funny. It's more so that I just don't see where it is. Like, I'm struggling to put together what the joke was even supposed to be. Even if we took out even if we, like, ignored all of the ableist language in that and ignored that he was just bullying people, like, even if we ignored that, I still don't see, like, what the joke was actually supposed to be. Because I can think of some, like, very offensive jokes that I probably should not tell publicly, which, while they would be hurtful, they would still be jokes because you could tell where the setup and payoff are, right? This one, I just don't even get where the joke is, so that's the part I'm confused about. I like this person who says, now we understand why your wife is divorcing you. This person says, you're being a bad representative of Christ and the pro-life movement. Again, I don't see why this has anything to do with the pro-life movement. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's very frustrating because I've noticed that when we look at the world, there's a group that people tend to see as the default, and that is people that are generally white, male, straight, able-bodied, and things like that. And when you get someone who is outside of that zone that people consider the default, they get put into this category of the other, then people try to politicize their existence. Like, oh, this character in a movie is a woman. That must be a leftist agenda. It's like, well, you could have made the character a man or a woman and you chose woman. That doesn't necessarily mean there's an agenda, right? It's things like that you see a lot. I hate the idea that if you are someone who lies outside the historically dominant group of people, then that means that your existence is inherently politicized. People with Down syndrome are not a representation of a pro-life or pro-choice movement. People with Down syndrome are not a representation of a woke leftist agenda either. At the end of the day, humans are just humans, and Barbies are dolls that are meant to sort of represent humans. So if we have a variety in Barbies, I don't see the issue whatsoever. I've been a Barbie stan my whole life, as you guys know. I cannot wait to see the upcoming Barbie movie, and I cannot wait to release my book, Conversations with My Puppet, that has multiple sections of me simping for Barbie and the entire Barbie universe multiple times. And I am grateful that my friend Scoliosis Barbie was here with me to do this video and to share this news with you all today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I will see you guys again later this week for more videos on more topics related to books, business, and more. But in the meantime, keep on supporting small businesses, and if you want to support a big business, I think Mattel's a pretty decent one as far as I know until further notice. Alright, have a good start to your day, guys. Bye.
Get you some nuts.
Yeah, you effin'.
Up yours, woke moralist. We'll see who cancels who.